One's head snapped to the side. Her cheek burned as Mr. Kim stood in front of her, his face twisted with anger. What is this? He spat through gritted teeth, holding the paper. He said again. Aren't this the mark you got? After everything I have done for you, after all the money I have spent on your education. One's hand clenched tightly at her side, her nails digging so deeply into her palm that they left mark on her skin. She could feel tears gathering in her eyes, but she didn't look up. Then Mr. Kim threw the paper at her face. Look at your sister. Just look at her. She got into a top university with her marks. Do you know that? And you? With this mark, you won't even get into a chance to into a bottom rank university. His voice was filled with bitterness. You are nothing compared to her. Wayne wanted to speak, but her throat went gone dry. None of the words came out. She simply lowered her head and remained silent. Mr. Kim looked at her one last time. His eyes filled with nothing but disgust. Then he turned around and walked away. One stood there, staring at her disappearing figure, for a long moment before blinking hard, forcing her tears back. She was just 19 years old, a college student. Her mother was a mistress of her father's life that he got an affair even after his marriage, and then made her pregnant with Wine and left her. Then after Wine born, or even a few years later, her own mother also left with another person, abandoned her, and left her to her father, and he couldn't help but to take this responsibility unwillingly, as a burden in his life. After that she became a silent shadow in that house, always been compared, always found lacking, never been good enough, and nothing compared to her stepsister. She was always reminded of her father's mistake, never got the love of her own father, never noticed it by him. You called me? Jungkook asked in a deep, calm voice. Mr. Jung looked up at him and gave a slight nod. Walking towards his father, Jungkook stopped in front of his desk. Is there something important? Mr. Jung let out a weary sigh before speaking straightforwardly. I have arranged your marriage. One of the Jungkook's eyebrows lifted slightly, but his expression remained cold. You did what? Mr. John leaned back his chair, his eyes filled with worry. It's Mr. Kim's daughter. Their company is going to downfall. He requested this arrangement so his company could become stable again. Jungkook's jaw clenched tightly, and I'm not interested in it. Mr. John sighed again. I know, but I promised him one time that I will help him in his business, and that man was literally go around my neck. And you know I never break my promises. Jungkook's eyes remained cold. Your promises have nothing to do with me. He was calmly about to turn when Mr. Jones stopped him as he stood up. Son, I've never asked for anything in your life. I've never been interested in your life, never forced you into anything. But this one thing I'm requesting you. For this partnership, just marry her. Jungkook jaw clenched because the marriage isn't any game. It wasn't something that to be used for business. It was a lifetime commitment. Mr. John lowered his gaze and sighed heavily. That man has been pressuring me for this marriage because of his company situation, and I know what kind of person he is. With those words, Mr. John turned around and quietly walked away. Jungkook remained standing there in silence. Just then his phone suddenly rang. He glanced at the screen. The moment he saw the called name, his eyes immediately got darkened. without a hint of emotion, he calmly declined the call and blocked the number. Then, under his breath, in a cold, bitter voice, he muttered, "Such a cold digger." "Dad, I don't want to get married." Emma's voice trembled as tears streamed down her cheek. Mr. Kim said silently across from her, "What?" Emma nodded her head. "Yes, Dad, I got an offer letter for further study and I don't want to marry now." Mr. Kim stayed quiet for a moment, thinking deeply. Emma immediately looked at her father desperately. Then she said, "Dad, I want to go there. I just don't want to marry. And I have a boyfriend too." Mr. Kim quietly looked at her with a calm face. Nothing flickered in his eyes. Then, unexpectedly, he nodded his head and smiled. "Okay." Emma's eyes immediately sparkled. "Really?" Mr. Kim smiled gently. "First of all, I'm so happy that you got an offer letter. And don't worry, I'll manage everything here." After a brief pause, his expression slowly hardened. "If you can't marry him, then one will have to marry him." Emma's eyes immediately widened. "Why? I don't have any other option right now except to get her married to him," Mr. Kim said in an almost cold voice. "But will she agree?" Emma asked. "Don't worry about her," Mr. Kim replied calmly. "All those years, I was just taking her responsibility and everything after her mother left her. All the money I just spent on her. Even if she won't agree, I will kick her out of this house." Immediately a smile appeared on Emma's face, like she didn't care. Without wasting another second, she happily nodded. Mr. Kim smiled at her. "Don't worry, princess. I'll talk to the Mr. Jeon." His voice softened. "First of all, I made your favorite dish. Eat it. You skip your dinner." As he spoke, Mr. Kim started feeding his daughter with his own hand. But there is one thing neither of them knew. Someone had been standing quietly at the doorway, listening to every single word. Wine. She had heard everything. Her heart started beating rapidly, and her hand began trembling. Actually, she had only been passing by the kitchen when she heard their conversation. Quietly, she made her way into the kitchen. She had come there because she was hungry and wanted to find something to eat. Her eyes wandering around the kitchen, but as expected, there wasn't any food left for her. No one had cared whatever she had eaten or not. A bitter smile tugged at the corner of her lips. After hearing everything, she had no appetite left anyway. Quietly letting out a deep sigh, she turned around and silently walked away. The marriage happened in the blink of an eye. As Jungkook stepped inside the house, Wan quietly followed behind him with steady step. She silently entered the house, taking in everything around her. The house was numerous. Every corner reflected luxury, even compared to her that house. This place was another level of richness. Jungkook quietly turned around and calmly looked at her. "Your room is on the second floor, on the left side." One simply looked at him. She somehow had already expected that. "If anything absolutely necessary, you can come to my room. But I expect you not to bother me." His voice was calm yet cold. Without waiting for her response, he turned around to walk into his room. After entering his bedroom, he quietly took off his blazer and wristwatch. Letting out a deep sigh, he calmly took out his phone and walked to the balcony and dialed a number. His face remained emotionless, cold as always. But beneath his calm exterior, frustration burned in his eyes. After a few moments, the call was answered. On the other side, Mr. Jones spoke. "I was expecting your call, son. Why didn't you tell me?" Jungkook calmly asked. There is a brief pause before Mr. June answered. "I myself found out one day before the wedding. The man literally tricked me. At the last moment, the eldest daughter backed out of the marriage, and just for his own benefit, he put his second daughter forward to save the deal. And at that point, we couldn't even cancel the marriage, you know that too." Jingu didn't say anything for a long moment, but behind the silence, frustration and anger simmered beneath his eyes. How could she just agree? A 19 years old college girl. "I'll not force you for anything right now. They tricked us." He paused and again said, "If you want, you can divorce her after some days. I won't say anything. So it's all your choice, son. And I know what you do, always be right." Chung didn't say anything and cut the call. His frustration was just building up. He had never expected that he would ended up marrying a 19 years old girl. Rather than focusing on her studies, how could she just agree to this marriage? His jaw clenched tight. She's not even mature enough to understand the responsibility of the marriage. Emma was now looking ahead, as her phone was now clenching her hand. Her jaw clenched. Just then a voice came from behind her. "I never expected this from you." Emma quietly turned to look at her mother. Her jaw remained clenched, her eyes slightly darkened and red. "I never knew that he was the Jungkook, the chief executive CEO of Jeon Enterprise." Mrs. Kim's expression hardened even further. "But you handed that fortune over to that girl. She already took everything from you and me, and you willingly give her the fortune." Emma lowered her gaze. She was regretting her decision. Looking at Jungkook, she had never in her life seen someone like him, someone so powerful, someone who had an aura that he had built himself. She also knew that even in front of him, there was no one who came before in power. Now she was regretting every decision she had made. "He is the Jungkook, the chief executive CEO of Jeon Enterprise," Rina said, her eyes fixed on her phone as she continued scrolling through the articles. Beside her, Wine walked in silence, her expression blank. She didn't say a single word. Then Rina looked at Wine and said, "He is even more cruel than your father, Wine. His strict nature, his reputation in the industry is huge." Wine just sighed. Somewhere she had already expected that he would be just him, just like her father. "I know. Let it go." Rina looked back at her phone, scrolling through it again. Then she looked at Wine and in almost softened voice said, "I can't even tell you to divorce him because I know that if you get divorced, your father will never accept you after that." As they both working, that's when suddenly her eyes fell on a car over there. The driver approached her and gave a small bow. "Sir sent his car to pick you up, ma'am." One simply stood there, silently looking at the car. "Did you prepare the papers?" Jungkook spoke over the phone, his voice cold enough to send chill down anyone's spine. "I want everything exactly the way I instructed. Don't make a single mistake." Without waiting for a response, he ended the call. Jungkook. Jungkook stopped and suddenly turned around. Standing a few steps away was Sana, her expression unusually quiet. You, why did you block me? She asked softly. Jungkook wasn't surprised to see her. He had expected she would come after him. If you have something important to say, then tell me, he said coldly. If not, don't waste my time. As he was about to leave, Sana suddenly said, at least tell me, why did you block me? We are in a relationship. It was so sudden. Jungkook raised an eyebrow. What? That single word made Sana feel embarrassed. He slipped both of his hands into his pocket, his dark eyes fixed on her, his cold aura alone too enough to make her spine shiver. Who told you we are in a relationship? His voice remained calm. It's you who is always behind my back, just after my money and spending it. And I didn't even surprise that you are already in a relationship. Sana's eyes brightened. What? Me? Jungkook let out a quiet chuckle. You have already wasted enough of my time. And I warn you, don't bother me again because it wouldn't even take me a second to see you if you continue using my name. Sana couldn't utter a single word. Indeed, she was behind Jungkook for his money. Always stay behind his back, making everyone feel like they are in a relationship, while Jungkook didn't even give a damn about her. She was just used all the luxury under his name while staying in a relationship with her other boyfriend. At first, Jungkook didn't even pay attention to it, but as time passes, she was literally becoming a headache to him. Quietly looking at her for one last time with the dark eyes, he simply turned around and left. On the other hand, Wine had already seen everything from the inside the car with her quiet doe-like eyes. Even she can't listen, but she could see him talking with that woman. Suddenly, the car door opened. Jungkook got into the back seat and sat beside Wine, quietly closed his eyes and leaned his head against the seat, looking completely exhausted and frustrated. Wine looked at him for a moment. She could already tell that he wasn't in a good mood. With a sigh, she looked away and turned her gaze towards the window. After some time, Jungkook suddenly broke the silence. Are you hungry? He asked in a deep, cold voice. Wine immediately looked at him. Jungkook turned his gaze towards her with the usual cold expression. Slowly she shook her head. Never in her life anyone even asked, anyone even cared whether she was hungry or whether she had eaten anything or not. This was the first time someone had asked her about it. If you want to eat something, then we can go to a restaurant. I'm not really hungry. Django simply nodded and didn't push her anymore, as he already exhausted and tired. Students, today I'll be handling you back your mark sheet from the previous exam, the teacher announced, looking around the classroom. She began calling the students one by one. Each student walked to the front and collected their mark sheet. Miss Wine immediately looked up for a moment and stood up. She walked towards the teacher standing in front of her. The teacher handed her the mark sheet. Wine slowly took it. As soon as she looked at the marks, she froze. Her heart immediately dropped. Looking at the marks on it, 60%. Again, her heart dropped. Of course, she had worked hard for this exam. She really had, but still, this mark. Make sure to get these papers signed and bring them back tomorrow, the teacher said without looking up. Wine slowly lifted her eyes towards the teacher. Her finger tightened around the papers as her mind completely blank. What would he say? Jungkook was now in his home office, in his study room. There is a sudden knock on the door. Coming. The door slowly opened. Wine walked inside, tightly holding the report card in her hands. She slowly walked towards him and stopped across the desk. Jungkook looked up at her with a slightly curious expression. Without saying anything, Wine quietly held out the papers. Actually, this is my report card. It needs a signature for tomorrow. Could you please sign it for me? Jungkook looked at her for a brief moment. Without another word, he took the paper from her hand and calmly began scanning through them. Wine's hand slowly clenched into fisted. She already knew what was about to happen. What would he say? Would he be even harsher than her father? Of course, he was even more strict than him. She read it. Quietly, Jungkook picked up his pen and started to signing the report card. Wine's eyes widened in surprise. After signing it, Jungkook looked up at her and handed the report card back. You did well, he said calmly, but I expect you to be more focused on your studies. Wine was completely stunned. She didn't even know how to react. Her hands trembled as she stared at him with the innocent doll-like eyes, as if she had just seen a ghost. Jungkook calmly met her gaze. Is there anything else you want to say? His word pulled Wine out of her thoughts. She quietly shook her head. Then, with her head bowed in front of him, she didn't say anything more and immediately left from there. After she left, Jungkook's gaze shifted back to the file on his desk. It was the file that containing every details about Wine. His calm eyes were just fixed on it as suddenly an unfamiliar warmth quietly tugged at his heart. The rain continued to fall. It stopped, covering everything around her. One slowly looked up at the sky, her eyes quietly taking in the moment. She loved the rain. Slowly she stretched out her hand, letting the raindrops collect in her palm before playing it, swinging them through the air, almost like a happy child. After such a long time, the rain somehow made her forget everything. So she simply stood there, letting the rain soak her skin, a small peaceful smile appearing on her face. And then she felt a presence behind her back. She quietly turned around and saw him. Jungkook stood there, his calm eyes fixed on her. His hair and clothes are already drenched by the rain, yet his expression somehow softened on her. Her heart started to race. He will get sick. One let out a soft sigh. But I loved it. She looked away again, but his eyes were just fixed on her. How beautiful she was looking. How beautifully she smiled. Somewhere his heart felt a tug under his chest of the sudden warmth. Something urged him to make her his woman, like someone who was just perfect for him. Feel his heart quite firmly. Quietly his hand found her waist, making Wine almost flinch hard, as his gaze was just fixed on her. His chest pressed against her, making his breath mingling over her face. Wine's heart now started to beat fast over the sudden closeness. His hand kept firm on her waist, holding her firmly against him. He leaned closer, looking into her eyes. Just only her eyes. Wine's hand unconsciously twisted on his t-shirt tightly, trying not to breathe loudly, as his face was just inches away. One suddenly sneezed. Jungkook's eyes immediately filled with concern. I'm sorry. A quiet sigh escaped Jungkook's lips. Without saying another word, he lifted her into his arms, making her heart racing with the nervousness. Then, without saying another word, he carried her inside.